Dreamers, welcome to another episode, another week. We have two fabulous PR executives from Michele, Marie PR, Jill, and Sara. And I'm so excited.
Yeah, I am beyond excited because you know what? People get very confused what PR is.
They do. It's a very glamorous role in the movies, and we know that not to be true.
Yes.
Back in the day, we have worked with a ton of different PR firms for different things, whether it be press, digital, events, product placement.
Yes, people don't understand exactly what PR is. It's different than an ad agency. It's different than a branding agency. It's different than social media.
Yeah, and you know,
I'm sorry, people, if I cough a little, I got a cold.
We had Adam Glassman on from Oprah, and you know, Marge have been on the O list with the best collection 6 times. Some of those times were because submits went through a PR agency. So let's just get into it and get them right on the hotline.
And by the way, there's specialties in PR, so I have to ask them about that.
Yes, and they are a full service PR agency, so we're going to get the lowdown.
Oh my God, are you two gorgeous?
We're so excited to have you here. We know that you guys have an incredible PR firm. You were number 4 on Forbes list last year of PR agencies, and you have clients from Warner Brothers and Mattel to like Cynthia Rowley, John Varvatos. Like, you guys are the real deal.
So welcome, Jill and Sara.
Thank you. I'm Jill. This is Sara.
Nice to meet you both.
So they're so gorgeous and glamorous. If you're not watching, they look like the PR agency you just want to hire just by looking at them. You don't even have to know their credentials. When you walk in, you see them, how beautiful, polished they are. You're like,
thank you. That's so sweet.
Very sweet.
Oh, yes. So
it's funny. We thought we'd start because a lot of people get confused when it comes to PR. There's a lot of misconceptions around like the role of a PR agency. They confuse it with branding, advertising, a publicist. So for our listeners that don't know, what is the role of a full service public relations agency?
Do you want to take this one?
Sure. Yeah. So we essentially represent brands, products, services, and we, try to get those brands in the public eye, whether that be through stylists, through celebrities, through influencers, editors, producers. We're trying to get, our clients in front of those influential people in order to be featured either, in a magazine, online, with a celebrity wearing it. And we're trying to create, organic press. So, credible content for our clients to be able to use to show their customers that, this is, this top and these Vogue editors love it, or I'm an esthetician and Allure just rated me the top esthetician, or, my brand was just worn by Beyonce. So organic content that they can use to then show buyers and their customers.
See, that clears it up for a lot of people because I think people get very confused. That was a great depiction. Now, in the movies, it's always the cool girls that work for a PR agency, and it looks so glamorous, and they show them swanning into Fashion Week, sitting guest note. We know that not to be true.
Yes. It sounds like the most glamorous job, but is it the most glamorous job? I mean, you look glamorous, but is it really that glamorous to work in PR? I mean, you're dealing with a lot of different personalities, a lot of different brands, and people are really holding you accountable to make them successful.
Yes. I don't think it's glamorous. It's so much work. The deadlines are so tight for editors, for stylists. The pace is super fast. So it's pretty hardcore and like aggressive and a lot of work. But I can't say it's also not glamorous because we do get to attend really fun events and travel the world going on influencer trips. And so there's a lot of fun that comes with it.
Yeah. And I think it was probably more glamorous when we were in, our 20s and seeing these things maybe for the first time, meeting celebrities for the first time, or going to a fashion show, or traveling, first class internationally, or, those sort of things. And then, the luster wears off a little bit after you have some, crazy experiences with celebrities, or, Jill has some insane stories of, traveling with one dress across the country or across the world, actually. Yes. And, it didn't make it to the Oscars, or, just these moments that sound very glamorous to our friends and our family, but
when you're doing it, it doesn't feel that glamorous.
Exactly.
Wow,
no sleep, no food, you're just running. So yeah.
You guys have a huge team as well. You have 2 offices, you have New York and LA. So how is it running a bicoastal business?
Fun.
Yeah, it's great.
I think that's one of my favorite parts about it.
Being
able to, I lived in New York City after college, and I then relocated back to Los Angeles. I'm from Orange County, Southern California. And so being able to go back and forth all the time and kind of live that bicoastal life is so fun. Zoom has made it so much easier to really connect with our New York girls. We used to fly every month there to have that face-to-face time with them. Now we're seeing them every day on camera is so nice. And we do have a big team. Like you mentioned, we have 60 full-time employees and 20 interns, and we're an all-female staff. So that makes it really fun to go to work.
That's the best part. That's so women empowering. And I mean, I didn't realize it was an all women's. That is so great. Now, you guys were best friends before you started this company together.
We weren't. We hadn't. We are now, but honestly, when we started this company, we hadn't even been to lunch together.
I know. Sorry.
Interesting.
I know. It was pretty crazy. We can tell you a little bit of the backstory.
Yes, need the backstory.
Yeah.
People love
and this is Sara speaking, but so Jill and I were hired to be the in-house PR team for Joe's Jeans. So Jill's background was women's editorial. And like she said, she had been living and working in New York, working for Escada and St. John and these amazing companies, doing the women's editorial side. And my background was kind of the opposite. It was men's celebrity. And I had been living and working in LA for Hugo Boss and John Varvatos. And so we were hired to be Joe's in-house team. He realized that we would complement one another well, which we realized very quickly too. And, we started there and we quickly bonded over just not loving our experience. We were stuck in this dingy office in the city of commerce, and the most glamorous place to eat was Subway, which Subway's great, but there was just it just wasn't what we wanted for ourselves. So we quickly realized that we made a great team. We had both been approached kind of independently on the side to do some small work for other brands. And we realized, I think there's something here. And so we quickly kind of got a plan together, which wasn't really a plan. Our plan—
You're skipping over the cutest part of the story of why I was like, this is a wonderful woman that I should totally go into business with. So she was approached by somebody at the gym, of course, that wanted her to do his swimwear PR, of course. And so she came in the next day to work and told me, she's like, do you think this is bad? I kind of want to do this, but we were in-house at Joe's Jeans. So it was like, oh, is this a conflict of interest, or is this going to be okay? It was like, well, Joe didn't do any swimwear at all, so it's fine. And it was just going to be on the weekends. We were never going to let it conflict with what we were, we were really good employees with a great work ethic. So anyway, she said, he's going to pay me $3,000 a month. Can you help me? Because you do editorial and I do celebrity. He wants both. Can you help me? And I was like, sure, girl, I'll help you. No big deal. And she pulls out of her handbag a checkbook, which those don't exist anymore. Anyway, and she writes a check for $1,500 and hands it to me. So exactly half. And she just really wanted it to be where I thought I was just going to do her a favor, throw her a bone. So she made it so official and so honest from the get-go. And then a week later, I was approached by somebody to do PR as well, and they were going to pay me $3,000. So I handed her back the $1,500, and there we were in business.
So yeah, we resigned on the same day, same sheet of paper to Joe, and said we're leaving. We're going to start our own agency. He was very upset for the first first couple days, and then day 3 he came and said, "All right, I want to be your first client. What's your name? Where are your offices?" And so that forced us to quickly,
what's your business plan? And I was Googling business plan.
So that was
still want to work with you when you start your own company. That's amazing.
You were so good. I think people don't realize because my ex-husband, always would say PR was a waste of money. And that was our biggest sticking point, because I was it's all about the hype. And it's an integral part of a growing business. And I always say you have to spend money on PR because then no one knows you.
Yeah.
And I feel that people don't realize, you know, because it's something, you know, it's kind of intangible, right? Like,
yes.
You know, it's not a product. It's something that you see, and
it's so hard to measure.
And it is hard to measure. So how long do you tell people like to see results, like our PR campaign? Like, what do you say to people? Because people like, you know, everything's so instant gratification now.
Yeah. Definitely. You hit the nail on the head. That is, you know, probably the biggest challenge of our job is the amount of time. You know, you have to realize that an editor at Elle or Harper's or Vogue, you know, and same with a stylist or an A-list celebrity, they're being gifted or presented every brand that can afford PR. So that takes time. It takes time to, you know, present the products. It takes time to have fittings with celebrities. So we always tell clients the first 6 to 8 weeks are painful. They're going to be the slowest. You know, it's definitely a challenge. We try to be as communicative as possible with our clients and let them know what's going on. The first 6 to 8 weeks tend to be slowest. And then, you know, once a client can kind of hang in there for that long, I would say after the 4-month mark, you know, things start really happening. And then the 6-month mark. And then after that, generally, like they kind of can't live without us, you know? So, but it is a slow process. It's tough.
Yeah, you know, I am with you 1,000%. And I think that's what people have to realize, because it's very hard for any kind of brand to take off without PR. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. There's such a difference between a paid ad or a paid social ad. Those are great, but the consumer is savvy and can see right through that. And so they really do need that authentic, earned, credible placement to really trust a brand. And, you know, it's different to see Kate Hudson or somebody being the face of a brand as a paid face, as opposed to like seeing the paparazzi shot of her running down the street wearing that product. Like you just, I think it's even subconscious for, especially for women to go like, oh my gosh, I love anything Kaya Gerber wears. And I'm, you know, yeah, she might be the face of Celine, but when I see her walking down the street in a pair of Redone, like, then that's what I'm going to buy.
Mm-hmm. I think it's so funny as well now because I think the value in a PR agent has gone up so much because there is so much direct contact with celebrities and direct contact with people, and people have thrown their products that the noise, it actually backfired in a way. The noise that brands are creating for themselves, a designer, a celebrity, an editor needs you guys to cut through that noise and get them what they need to see. Because I know, you know, you get a lot of unsolicited things here.
Yes, so, and by the way, I am not a celebrity under any circumstance, but I'm, I'm on a reality show.
Yeah.
People send things, which I'm very grateful for. And, you know, you feel obligated sometimes to, you know, post about it. And I get paid things. I get, you know, things that are gifted to me. And sometimes, you know, you don't love everything. But yeah, I always want to help people in business and everything else.
Yeah, but it helps to have someone like that you could trust to say, you know, you need to take a look at this brand, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Someone sees your guys' email come in, a call from you guys, they're like, we better take this. They really have something.
Yeah, we hope so. That, yeah, it does kind of add a layer of it being vetted by somebody as opposed to brands just blindly trying to reach a celebrity or an editor.
Do you turn down brands who come to you?
Gosh, yeah, we definitely, if they don't fit within our scope, of course. If we get you know, thankfully we're in a place in our career where if we get a bad vibe, if we don't love the person we're talking to, you know, there was a moment 2 weeks ago that we both just looked at each other and said, it's not worth it. And we're so thankful to be able to be in that position, because for probably 10 years, we said, you know, we didn't say yes to things that we know we couldn't do PR for, but we definitely dealt with a lot of, you know, rude people and people who weren't treating our team with the respect they deserve. And now we're in a point we're able to choose who we want to work with, not just what we want to work with, which is really nice. But yeah, there are brands out there that we, would say no to because we don't, think that's where our contacts lie or that we couldn't do the best job possible for them.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, there's a buyer for almost everything, so it's more than just the product. If we know that there are specific targets that would like this product, even though we may not want to put it on or not think it's all that cool, somebody will. So we're okay with that. But like Sara said, it all comes down to the people. We really want to work with good people.
I'm with you. I totally get it. I mean, sometimes the money's just not worth it, right?
Yes.
It's just like a real pain in the ass, right? Or just like not fun to be around, or drives down the energy of a company or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What do you guys look at as your biggest success story? Like, what brand did you see go from like very teeny tiny to like wow, and you feel that you were just so integral in that part of that success?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I think the one that stands out the most to both of us just now, I mean, we've had hundreds of clients and hundreds of success stories because each owner founder has her own or his own goal in mind, whether it's to get into Nordstrom or to get on the cover of Vogue or to get on Beyonce. Like, everyone has their own little dream moment, and we've helped them achieve so many. So it's really nice and lucky for us. But we did, like, our third or fourth client was a company called Bando, B-A-S.
Oh, yeah.
And they were nothing, they were two little girls, young girls, working out of their garage, styling on the side. And we helped them grow to be able to sell. And, they're in thousands of stores, and they sold to a great company. And now they've both, moved on from Bando. But
I remember when they started. I remember them.
Yeah.
Very well. At the gift industry. They were at the gift show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Gosh, we used to go to so many of those.
Yeah.
The trade shows. Yes. And business has changed so much. Because of COVID, because of social media. So how have you guys changed the way that you do PR? Because listen, everybody didn't have so much access and things like that. Have you had to change the way you've done things?
Yes.
Definitely. Gosh, I mean, just with print changing and sadly becoming, non-existent over the years, I sure hope it swings back one day, but that has changed. It's been nice because it's opened up so many different, what we call short lead opportunities, digital press opportunities that weren't there. And our clients were having to wait 4 months for an article to come out. And then it would, you would have to go to the newsstand to get it. And it was such a fun moment. But, now we're just seeing, it's just immediate, which is great for our clients. And it opens up, so many more different opportunities. Obviously, the social media, the influencer world is so different. Thank you to our younger team of girls who are so on that and know who all these TikTokers are and know, the different, people out there that are good to partner with and, who would make the most noise for different brands. But it has changed so dramatically since Jill and I started.
The learning curve to evolve quickly with the change is the hardest part. When TikTok comes out, it's like, oh my God, what is this? And I now need to master it and know who's influential, or, all these digital publications instead of print. So it's like when that change is happening is the hardest part, is that we really have to be ahead of it and on top of it. But then once you are here and you know all of those different mediums, it actually has made our jobs easier and better for our clients. Because like Sara was saying, you were limited to Tom Cruise and Angelina Jolie. Like, that was it back in the day. There were not really it, but there were not that many A-list celebrities and it was so relying on red carpet moments more so than every day. And so now that we have all these different types of influencers, women, more diversity and more size inclusive and more, there's just so much more that we can work with that is better for all of our clients and better for the consumer.
You know what? That's amazing, because I do think also sometimes people don't want to change or don't know how to change or don't know how to evolve. And that even happens with brands, right? It's just like they get stale. And they don't change with the times.
And I think people get overwhelmed too, because there is such a vast range of like celebrities, influencers that can add value to brands now. Like you look on, someone will mention a name and you look and they have 28 million followers and you're like, how have I never heard of them? Like back in the day, that would have been like Meryl Streep. Do you know what I mean? You would have been like, oh, of course I heard it. So it is something that like there is something for every brand now. It is very, very cool.
Yes.
We asked some questions also to people on Instagram. So we have some questions.
We said you were coming
guys.
on, so someone written in.
Yes. So how do you acquire your clients? Do you reach out or do you rely on them coming to you?
It's kind of both, to be honest. You know, gosh, up until a couple years ago, Jill and I would go shop stores and we would look at brands that we loved, or we would go walk the trade shows. We've been to 1,000 of them, and go seek out brands that we really liked personally. You know, our moms would send us lists of brands they liked. Our friends would send us lists. And then, you know, thankfully, a lot of referrals from, you know, previous clients or current clients. We've been very blessed in that way to have a lot of client referrals. And then, people, you know, the Forbes list really helped. We got a lot of inquiries because of that.
Our Instagram.
Yeah. And just, you know, we really do have a reputation of being nice, hardworking people. And, you know, I think thankfully after 15 years, I think people finally started to hear about it and know about it. And we do get, you know, numerous inquiries every day, which we're very grateful for.
Lexi has to read it because I don't have my reading list. So. I'm also blind.
So I love this because like you say, you have a full female team and a very large team. So how do you lead your organization effectively?
Oh my gosh. Are we effective? Well, I think one key thing that we've been pretty adamant about from the beginning is systems. So we do, like back in the day, we used to have laminated checklists sitting on our desks that we would, so we very much created a system of what we found to be successful. Of course, every single client has their own strategy and their own whole plan, but day to day within the team, we run pretty strict systems so that everything can run very smoothly, very organized. We have this master calendar that is like perfectly, you know, color coded and organized so everybody understands everything that's happening that day with all the employees and all the clients. Probably that.
Yeah, definely.
I love that because that is, to me, with all those deadlines and different people reaching out to you, that could be so dizzying.
It does, and I mean, it's hard when the girls here complain to us that when people on board, it takes so long to learn our systems. It's like, oh my gosh, it takes the first month just understanding all of our systems. But at the end of the day, I don't know how you could run it without all of us.
Yeah.
Well, especially not with a New York office too, where you don't have necessarily one of you on the ground all the time in that office.
Right.
Do you, because I'm sure you have so many clients, do you at one point or throughout, you know, the months interact with every client at certain points?
Yes. Oh yeah.
I'm sure, listen, you can't handle every client between the two of you, obviously.
Right.
It's like you have the team who works with the clients on a daily basis, but do you do touch bases with all the clients so they feel like they're getting involved with the owners, with the founders, that they're getting that attention? Because that's hard.
Yes, I think that's really what sets us apart from our competitors, to be honest, is that we are still super involved and we've always tried to lead by example, you know, to our team. But we are incredibly involved. Only up until 6 months ago, we were on every email, every call, every report. And then, you know, it just gets to be,
it hit a tipping point where now we kind of have some new rules there, but
yeah. And we also create, you know, really great systems with one another where we have lead days where, you know, Jill leads today, I lead tomorrow. And it kind of creates a pause to where you can actually do some creative work on your, you know, non-lead day. So we've created a lot of systems with one another that kind of frees up our time a little bit more to be able to be a little more hands-on with certain clients. And we do pretty much touch all of them.
Yes.
We sign all of them. And so we do all the onboarding, we do the kickoff calls. So it's like we survive on these systems, but we've really thankfully been able to grow slowly and manage it pretty well, I think.
I mean, but we don't have children. That all we do is this.
Yeah. This is our baby.
Yes.
Yep.
Do you guys, you work weekends? Do you work weekends or no? It's like, is this because it's your own business? Do you ever shut off?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you never really fully shut off. I mean, and now with smartphones, it's nice. You can still, I'm going to Hawaii next week, but I'll still be working all the time. But I don't think we ever like fully shut off.
I think that's hard. Yeah. And people have to realize that when you have your own business, it's
there's always a fire. There is always something, or there's something to look forward to. You know, if we're on vacation and we're on our phones, it's, you know, sometimes to sign a new client and you really get excited and you want to help that brand grow, and you get excited to see those, initial kind of onboarding moments. And so I think we do a good job of a work-life balance now.
Yeah.
After 15 years.
Yes.
We're finally starting to get it a bit.
Yes.
But yeah, it never turns off. It really doesn't.
I think that's with all creative people, especially in like the consumer goods industries. Cause like, even when you're on vacation, if you walk into a store that's selling cute things and you see a brand, you're like, oh my God, I have to find out.
Yes.
Represent them. You know, we will be the same with inspiration.
Yeah, I'm always like that. I'm always taking a picture of a label. This and that. I have to look them up. I have to have this. I have to have that. I mean, tell me, what advice do you give to people, young people now who are interested in getting into PR? They want to go into PR. Do you suggest going into the industry now? What do you say?
Gosh, there's so many things. I mean, there are personal things that I think are, thank you notes go a long way. Being nice to people, that's, you never know in this industry who's, our interns are now running our company. I mean, it's like
former interns, not current.
Yes, former interns.
Yes, former interns are now co-presidents.
10 years in. And
so I just think, this industry, when we were first starting out, it was brutal. People, we had cutthroat, and women were cutthroat. We both had some pretty terrible bosses over the years, but I think when we were first starting out, we wanted to just create a nice environment for people, and that's so important to us to hire nice people. We always say that, and I'm going to get this totally wrong, but we both read a book that we really resonated with us, and we seek to find the right people to put on our bus, on our little MMPR bus, and we'll find the right position for them. It's not all about just filling slots. We need this account executive. We need this junior AE. We need this. It's really finding great people and seeing where they excel and where they succeed and putting them in those right positions. And if you need to shift their positions around, that's okay. If they're great people, they're hard workers, they communicate well, they're gonna, at one point, like, find their perfect position and be the best employee they can be. And when you ask the question about, when do we turn off, it kind of doesn't feel that way, to be honest. Like, we were both lucky enough to land jobs in, that we really loved. And it didn't always, yes, it does feel like work a lot of times, but it doesn't always feel like work. And so when you are getting those emails, at 10 p.m. or on the weekends, it's still something in your heart that you still love to do every day, So I think that definitely helps the non-balance of our personal lives a lot.
And a lot of times there are a lot of fires, like you mentioned, that you have to deal with, but also employees are sending along their big win for the day. And so your heart is so warm to see what they were able to accomplish, that they worked so hard on. So that really keeps you going as well, and makes you not want to turn off, because you want to be there to support them fulfilling their career goals, or build a brand.
And you guys are obviously such incredible role models, leaders, have just such an amazing ethic to your team. That, you know, interns are now VPs in your companies, amazing. Were there anyone who affected you in your career? Were there any like mentors or role models that really stand out to you that shaped the way you do business?
Yeah, in different ways. I mean, we were 27 when we started this. So this is kind of sad to say, most of my bosses from at a young age were men that I was learning a lot on how I didn't want to be. So even though they were great mentors in some ways, that they were, you know, running successful, huge fashion companies, they did a lot that I was like, okay, we definitely want to start a business where we're not emulating that. And we believe in equity, we believe in women, and we don't believe you should ever be sexually harassed at work.
Yeah.
Or anywhere, anywhere on the planet, but definitely not in the workplace.
And I had a very similar, you know, experience. I think I was lucky enough to meet women who were in the same kind of positions I was in, the PR world, the fashion PR world, and dressing celebrities. And all of them kind of had the same, we all had this experience of having these kind of terrible bosses in-house. And we all, as a group, I'll never forget it, like kind of sought out to help one another. Where, you know, the generation before us, they kind of kept all their contacts to themselves, and they would never share a lead. And, you know, they're very independent working. And we, you know, there was this group of girls that they called us like the PR mafia. And it was, you know, the PR girl from Dior, and the PR girl from Bulgari, and the PR girl from, and we all were very friendly to one another. And we knew that if this didn't work for this stylist, then go down the street and get it from, you know, my friend's, you know, boutique or whatever it was. And we really kind of sought out to help one another and give each other these leads and share stylist contacts. And so that was kind of what, you know, like Jill said, we learned a lot about what we didn't want to be and how we didn't want to treat employees. And then we have a lot of amazing girlfriends too, who are in, you know, who are entrepreneurs, we just had dinner last night with a couple of them, and, you know, we always bounce ideas off one another and help one another. And it was rare when we were starting in this career, you know. It was kind of those Devil Wears Prada moments that, you know, it was just people backstabbing each other. And it was like, that's not a way to live. That's not what you want for the rest of your life and your career.
Yeah, and there's enough to go around, and there's room for everybody at the table. And I think, especially women, when they don't make room for other women, it's very upsetting. I always feel that way also. So many people ask me for help or whatever it is, and I give out contacts and I help, and I don't expect anything in return. I always feel like, you know, if I give you a leg up today, you're going to give me a leg up when I need it down the road.
Exactly.
And it's so important to do that. But, you know, and I love hearing that you learned from men not to be that way, and that you do that for other people, and that you have a team that does that, and that you mentor young women to be that way, because it's so important. Because unfortunately, I still encounter that I still share and want to help, but other people don't, and they're very guarded, and it's so hard to teach that to other people who don't want to have it.
Comes from a place of insecurity so many times.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, you guys are obviously so confident. You have such an amazing business. You'd be successful if you left your client list on the table tomorrow for everyone to take, because people love you. You know, it's sad that there is still that insecurity that people can't play nicely, you know, together in the sandbox.
Yes. I have another question off that subject. What goes hand in hand with PR? What do you tell your clients? Do you tell them you must, your social media, because you don't handle PR is not social media.
Correct. We're not managing anybody's social media platforms.
No. So do you tell them you must get a social media platform manager? You must get, like, what do you feel goes hand in hand with great PR that a company must have that people make mistakes on? Because because listen, when I was older, when I got on the show with my brand, you know, so when I started, you know, my company, there was no social media. We had a PR firm we work with and things like that. So what do you tell people?
It's important to have a good social media feed, like shooting your own original branded content and have it aesthetically be on brand and pleasing for people to follow is important. But we don't think it's the most important thing, because when you commit to PR long enough and when we're doing a great job with you, you have so much content that we secure from third parties that to put that up on your feed really helps round out all of your messaging, and it shows that credibility and cachet to the people that are following you. So what we say for like great PR, what you really want to do is you want to hit the consumer from multiple touch points. Like the guy or girl, when they're making a decision on what to purchase, like they need to see it on their favorite blog or online publication. They still may need to see it like in a newspaper holiday gift guide based on the product and the target. You want to see it on social media influencers. You want to see it on celebrities. You want to see it on TV. You want to see it everywhere. And then then the brand really starts to stick into your brain like, gosh, I keep seeing this and I love this. And now I love seeing this person wear it and I love him or her. So which is what our offering is, full service PR. So our New York team does all of our editorial. That's where we're pitching for print, digital, broadcast, and podcast outreach. And then our LA office here does all of the VIP services, dressing celebrities and influencers. Then both teams together do a ton of experiential events, pop-ups, consumer-facing events, fun editor dinners, blogger brunches, influencer trips. And that service offering that we provide is really helping your end goal, if you're the brand, on hitting that consumer from all of those multiple touch points.
Wow, that was very good. Thank you. That was so cohesive and so great for people to hear about their brand. I mean, basically PR, everybody who's listening, is invaluable if you're starting a brand, right? I mean, that's 100%. The truth. Because I think I say that all the time.
Now more than ever.
Yeah, now more than ever. You know, because you got to stand out, and that's what it really is, and that's what it is, hitting the multiple touch points. And basically, you guys hit every multiple touch point right there. Everybody who comes on the podcast, we ask them 3 questions. So the one question is, I always say, what do you guys call your big panty moment? You had to pull up your big girl panty moment that you could recall, like this was our sink or swim kind of situation.
Yeah, I think we have several, but I think 2 really stick out. You know, the day that we resigned, on that same day, same sheet of paper, that was definitely, I always say we were just fearless and knew it had to be better. So we were, you know, I mean, that was a lot. I was going through, or had just gone through, a divorce. I was, you know, living in this teeny tiny yucky studio apartment. I was just like, you know, I have nothing to lose. Why the heck not? You know, so that was, and to be totally honest, and I think Jill will say the same, we didn't give it much thought. We didn't know where our office would be. We didn't know what a business plan was. We didn't even know what our name was going to be. We just did it. It felt right. So I think that was a big moment. And then a big moment, you know, in the history of our business, and a personal moment for us, was actually being able to fire our first client. That we, you know, I'm not going to get into the whole story, but it was a very large company, a very large retainer. It was definitely the largest for us at that time. And, you know, in one meeting, we had been working with them for years. And in one meeting, we realized this company was so the polar opposite of everything they stood for, which was female empowerment and inclusivity and diversity. And in one meeting, we realized, you know, the curtain was kind of pulled open, and it was all revealed to us that this is not the company or the people that we thought it was. And we sent them an email that day, right after that meeting, and said, you know, with all due respect, this is, you know, X, Y, and Z, why we can no longer work together. And it was a huge moment for us. I can count on one hand the amount of times we've fired a client. And, you know, thankfully, you know, we were in a position to be able to financially to be able to do that. So that was a big, and it was hard. And it was, kind of dramatic, and we were sitting in the airport together, writing this, and we were emotional. We still get emotional. This is our baby. So I think that was a huge moment for us to be able to stand up for what we knew, what was right and what was wrong. And again, we didn't want to bring this toxicity into, this lovely place that we, and our team, we didn't want them to have to deal with this anymore, and promote a brand that we knew was, not worth promoting. So,
yeah. And we were killing it for them.
Yeah.
I mean, they were an amazing case study for our agency, and we loved the product. But like Sara said, seeing who the people really were and how they treated their employees, and how it was like, time out. This is never worth it.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that is a big step. And I think that's very indicative of who you guys are. And I love it because that's totally on brand for what you did. So that's impressive. And that just speaks to why you guys are such an amazing team, such an amazing PR firm. And that is hard to walk away from money like that.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't worth it. And that you could do it. That's a big deal, because I think I've had those decisions in my life.
I'm sure.
What's not worth it? Certain licensees. I was in licensing, and I was making so much money. And I cut ties, and I mean, listen, it bit me, but I had to do it because I just could not do it anymore. It wasn't who I was, and I couldn't dial into that certain behavior.
So another question that we ask is, we always credit the Marge's success to 50% delusion and 50% determination. How would you accredit your percentages to your success?
And delusion not being a negative thing, like believing my own hype, believing my own PR.
Yeah, fake it till you make it.
Yep.
Yes.
Determination.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that we would say maybe 75 or 80% was determination.
Definitely. Yeah. I don't think we ever thought we would be in this place. We just wanted to do what we loved in a fun environment. And I don't think we really had these grand plans in our head. Over the years, of course, we've had goals of, let's get to 10 clients, let's get to 50 clients, let's get to, we've had these but we've never kind of I don't think we're dreamers, really.
Right, we're not.
At all. So I think so much of it was determination. Absolutely.
Well, that's very impressive. That's very impressive. And do you guys still set goals for yourself every year? We're going to take on more.
Oh, yes.
We're going to grow. We're doing this and that. I think that's super important. And I always say, I don't care how old you are, you have to have a goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And our goals range from just personal goals, that could be kind of stupid. Back in the day, I mean, this was probably on like year 5 or 6. A goal was like to be able to afford that kind of car. I mean, we live in LA, which is so stupid. Just little random goals, or goals that we have for the team, what we want them to accomplish and where we want to see them grow. Vacation goals. I mean, we talk
about goals.
Maybe we are dreamers, actually.
I think you could be. Yeah. It's just caviar dreams. Yeah. We just put it right ahead. Yes.
So the last question we ask is, we consider ourselves very entrepreneurial. We're not like formally educated at Harvard with a business plan. What would be your most entrepreneurial advice to anyone wanting to enter the PR agency or thinking about starting their own PR agency right now?
Wow. I know that it's tough.
We talk about this often, is the showing up. Is just the act of showing up will get you so far in life. And it's really shocking these days to see, interns come in or employees come in who, don't show up, or maybe they show up several hours late, or maybe they don't take you up on working that particular event where they could get so much, experience. I think for both of us, our internships were such pivotal moments for our careers. And it's just taking those opportunities, showing up for those opportunities that you think you could meet different contacts, you could try out different facets of a particular career, and showing up for those moments, I think is really important. And then again, just be nice to people and help people and be excited for other people's accomplishments. And in this office, we're all on the same team, and you may be working on a different account, or you may be a different level, but we're all working toward the same goal. And we just really want to have a nice space for these great women to work in.
That's great advice. Show up. I always say show up and be rah-rah, right?
Yeah. Coming from two former cheerleaders, we get you.
Yeah, it's just like you have to have the rah-rah.
Yeah.
Want to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's so important. Well, this was magnificent.
This was such an incredible episode.
This was so helpful to me. I feel like this episode was for us almost.
Definitely.
I love it. We really resonate with the title of this podcast, because it's so funny that Jill and I, when we first started out, we worked really close to this little donut shop, and we would survive on tuna sandwiches. Literally $3 tuna sandwiches every day. Every day. And our newest
I still love tuna.
I do too. We do too.
We delivered this morning. I love tuna.
We do too. But now our new office that we moved into several months ago is next door to Petrosi and Caviar, and we thoroughly enjoy that as well.
Yeah, I love my caviar on potato chips. I know, so good. Well, Jill and Sara, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Tell everybody where they could find you.
Yes, MichelleMariePR.com. It's Michelle with one L. And then on Instagram, it's at MichelleMariePR.
Nice meeting you. Okay, I'm a little obsessed with Jill and Sara.
I'm very obsessed with them. Just the
I am done. When we do a new product, we have to work with them.
100%.
I think they're just the epitome of women empowerment, a success story of just going for everything you want to achieve.
And they are disruptors in a way that, it's funny, the word disruptor can feel aggressive, like you charged into an industry and shook it all up in an aggressive way. They came from aggressive, unhappy, difficult, adversarial workplaces, and disrupted that industry with kindness, women supporting women, nurturing their talent, finding roles for people based on the fact that they like the person. Like that to me is so inspiring, so empowering, and so refreshing.
I know. And anybody who's listening to this podcast, I just want you to know, I love that they said, just show up. If you're starting a business, if you're working for someone, just show up. You don't know the contacts you're gonna make. Just be happy to be there. Just give it your all. I love that. What they said, that's so important. Number 2, there's room for the table for everybody. Don't be afraid to share your contacts. Don't hold things so close to your chest. The more you give and put out there, the more will come back to you. It's very evident with Jill and Sara and Michelle Marie PR. And I feel I'm always the same way. I wish I could help everybody who calls in. That's why we do this podcast.
Yeah.
So please keep following us, Caviar Dreams, Tuna Fish Budget. You could always find me at The Real Margaret Josephs.
You can find me at The Life of Mrs. B, and the podcast is every other Wednesday at Caviar Dreams Tuna Fish Budget, with the same on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you want to find us. It's all Caviar Dreams Tuna Fish Budget. And also, don't forget to buy Marge's book, the paperback.
The paperback is out, and you can pre-order a signed copy from me and Marge Senior, because it has a bonus chapter. Junior versus Senior, a great chapter with Marge Senior.
And a lot of the themes that were covered in today's podcast, like sexual harassment in the workplace and, difficult workplaces, you covered those themes in your book.
Yes, I did.
So it's a great read. So book of the same name.
Book of the same name. Thanks, guys.
Keep dreaming.
Keep dreaming, Caviar Dreamers.